Well, hello, everybody. This is the Friday support call. That's actually the sound of my kettle going off, which you might not be able to hear, but never mind. It can wait. I'm Stephen Carlson, and this is our last Friday support call, at least for now. It's just time to stop. That's how it feels like at the moment, and that's fine. And I'd like to introduce Wei, because she's going to be our host tonight. And I thank you for hosting, Wei. And if there's anything that you'd like to say in introduction, I invite you to do so now.
Well, really, other than hello, I'm just always delighted to be here. Um, if you're in the States and you just celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a good one. I hope it wasn't too tumultuous if you had to get together with family and, that kind of stuff. And I do hope that, everybody overate because, hunger is an issue. I don't really have anything to say other than, hello, welcome. And if you're celebrating anything else, I hope that is, being time spent in love in spite of everything else that celebrations bring up. And I'd like to really just, get going. I already see our hands up. So let's just, if it's okay with you, feel free to put your hand up. It's a small group, so it'll be a nice, intimate, because it's a small but powerful group. So happy to see my fellow Sedona Method practitioners here. And in terms of putting your hands up, you all know this. I just want to remind you, don't forget that your gains, your comments, your insights also can designate a hand up. Okay, it's your floor as well. All right, so let's get to it. Michael, hello.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you good.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'd like a check-in, please. One last time.
Mhm. Hello. Nice
Yeah,
to have you here.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else other than a check-in that you'd like to bring
Um,
into space?
no, I feel like it's just like a grounding check-in just to see where I am, and it'd be really nice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where are you?
I I don't know. I need a bit more prompt than that one. Yeah.
Okay. So I welcome everybody to consider this question because it is something that I've noticed in our various spiritual seeking type of platforms where we tend to look outside of ourselves for check-ins, for prompts, for pointers. And absolutely, I appreciate that. Because, if I didn't appreciate that, I wouldn't, a bunch of my fellow colleagues up here would not have gone for the, certification to be a coach and to be an instructor, right? But I want to welcome all of us, especially my fellow coaches, to really empower ourselves to kind of just always go inside. And so I'm going to use this opportunity to get on a little bit of a podium around how we could all, and we do all, have the capacity to just go inward. And I know that the platform is very helpful to have someone else's voice, to have someone else's pointers, but let's just use this to borrow Michael's words around check-in. Okay. So I'm going to go very broad and then I'll go in right, very specific. So from the very get-go, could we just check in and just for your own individual beingness, with whichever way that is showing up for you right now? It could be extremely expansive. Okay. Could be like the beautiful mountain that is behind Angela's profile photo there, right? Expansive. And it could be, you know, as small as my fingernail, whatever. However, you're showing up. Could you just check in? And where are you right now? And just notice. And in noticing, just notice what you're identifying with. Okay? And just simply just notice. And if you're like out there very expansive, this is an exercise for you to come in and just notice where the body and the mind is. And if you are sort of disappeared into something else that's small, like a thought, this is also an exercise to expand from the thought and see if you can come into your body. So we're going to go ahead and do a bit of a body scan. And my methodology is really just to invite you to just notice where the you that you think you are as a body and mind begins. Now, it could be a thought. It could be a question. What the heck am I doing? I asked to check in. She wants us to check in. What does she want us to check in to? Wherever you are. If you're out there already in oneness and you're not really you anymore, I'm going to invite you to come back into the body and mind and also just check in. What is that experience like for you? Okay. Where does the you that you think you are begins and ends? And wherever it begins and ends, could you just notice that and just welcome that? And just take a moment and notice where it ends. Is it where your cheeks are sitting on the chair? Is it where your feet are meeting the ground? Where are your hands? Notice also what is happening with your breath. What is happening with your heart rate? What is happening with your gut? Notice any rumblings. Notice any silence or absence. Notice any thoughts or reluctance to get into the body. And then notice any tightness, any pain, or any other sensations. And let's go to a couple of the big senses. Notice what you're hearing. What are the sounds that are around you? Is there a fan nearby? Is there a kettle whistling in the background? Traffic hum of downtown Toronto? What are some of the sounds that are in your environment? And just notice how that sense is working for you. Notice the smells. What are you noticing? And as you're noticing these senses, the input, notice also the thoughts. Notice how there was a need to label And just notice that. And if there's any needing to change it, notice that also. We're going to do one more sense, and that's sense in your mouth. What is the taste in your mouth right now? Notice that. Okay. I welcome you to go back into the bigger part of your body. Where does the you that you think you are begin and end? And just notice that. Notice any sensations in your body. Notice specifically any tightness, any openness, any propensity to have your chest like collapsed and ready for a fight. Okay. And what is here in this moment? Notice the thoughts that come up. Notice any stories. Notice any wanting to change that may appear in the form of rushing along, wanting this to be different, or wanting more of this. And then take it a little bit deeper and notice how personal it all feels. This is my body, my experience, my thoughts, my stories. I am experiencing this. You're just going to notice that. All right. We're in the space of noticing. You're in and very consciously aware of the you that you think you are is. I'm happy to take your questions, your comments from that place of being human. And let's explore together what that means and what world peace we're going to solve today.
Yeah, can I continue? Would you mind if I ask another question?
Well, you're the only hand that's up right now. So yeah, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So I'm noticing that's obviously quite different from what I was expecting, but I'm noticing some tension, and yeah, I'd like to explore that.
Okay. So could you go ahead and explore that? Okay. So I'm going to welcome everybody to just take a moment and just explore what the present moment feels like. May it be tension, may it be expansion. Just take a moment and notice it.
Yeah, I'm also noticing some resistance as well. Obviously this dialogue has gone very differently from what I was expecting, and I'm noticing some resistance there too. Like I'm asking you for some help with them, and then I feel like I'm not getting it. So that's what I'm experiencing right now.
Right. And could you welcome that?
Yeah, I really am. It's quite interesting to notice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just notice it some more. And then as you're noticing that, what you call resistance and the thought that I'm asking for help, but I'm not getting help. Okay, notice how much truth there is in that.
Well,
Notice,
they're right, because this is actually
right, note,
this is
yes,
the second conversation I've had in the space of a few hours where it's the exact same thing.
right.
So yeah,
I didn't hear what you said because the voice broke down, but whatever experience that you're
yeah,
having,
yeah,
could you simply be with it and notice it?
yeah.
And then notice the propensity, the habit that we all have in putting words to be heard, okay, to be understood. Just notice
Yes.
that, okay? And whatever you're noticing, could you connect to what is the motivation under that? You know, that resistance, the asking for help, but I'm not, is not exactly coming to you the way that you were expecting. And that's the beauty of some of the coaches, right? The coaching sessions and the facilitation is that what are we responding to and what are we reacting to? So notice that. And notice what is
Actually, I really felt it was a phrase you just used a moment ago about, I can't remember exactly what you said about looking for, looking to be heard, looking to be heard and understood. That really resonated very deeply like in my being. I really felt that. Yeah.
okay. So bring that back. Notice that. Notice that wanting to be heard and wanting to be seen.
Yes.
And if
Understood. Yes.
if you could welcome that wanting to be heard and wanting to be seen, my gosh, like, right? That's the common humanity. Of course you do. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you welcome that, please just welcome it. And if you could be with it for just a moment, okay, and notice some more. What else comes up without wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard?
I think there's a possibility of going completely nuts if I took this to the nth degree. Like if
I'm
I
not,
could go crazy.
okay, so no, stop,
Yeah.
stop.
Mm,
Notice that.
yeah.
Notice the jumping forward.
Mm.
Is that a reality?
It's
Right?
certainly, it was certainly a previous experience. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Past
Okay, but
experience.
slow it
Yeah.
down. Slow it down. We're not
Mm.
talking about previous experiences. We're not talking
Sure.
about what, the doom and gloom that is for sure, 100% we know. The mind knows it's going to happen, right?
Mm.
100%. The brain, just the mind is just so bloody sure that if I just sit with this discomfort, nothing good, because it is just such a terrible feeling. And I know this because when I did this in the past, this is exactly what happened.
Mm.
Okay. So what we know in science around neuroplasticity is that if you keep repeating that, that is the physiology that you're building. That is the memory you want to lock into your limbic system, that it has no alternative but to believe that. Okay, so I want to lock that in for everybody. Okay. Our brain, we think that we're in control of our brain, but we are in a very weird way. We're in control of our brain by telling it what to look for. And if we're only setting up your brain to look for doom and gloom, 100%, I guarantee you, it will find you doom and gloom. Okay, so let's practice an alternative. How do we do that? We can simply do that by just noticing that it's a thought. It is a thought that my brain came up with that if I sit with this discomfort right now, it's going to be doom and gloom. Notice what else comes up. What other thoughts? Such as, I know this to be true because it's exactly what happened in the past. Sometimes the mind can also come up with some really fantastical stories. I heard this guru say, if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. Oh, I know 100% because I heard someone and someone and someone said, when they did this, this is what happened, right? So we chase that thing that is outside of us. So just notice within yourself what is happening. Let's get to know our own inner landscapes. Inside of our body and inside of our mind is really one and the same, but often we live life like they're two separate things. So what is that inner landscape? There was some discomfort. Oh, I want to get rid of it. Then the facilitator is asking you to actually sit with it. Oh no, I can't sit with it. Because if I sit with it, doom and gloom is going to come. So I'm going to ask, if you can, just for a moment, just check. What happens if you sit with that tightness? That's it. And everybody else. All the most horrific memories that you have. What would happen if we just see them, hear them, the very thing that we want for ourselves, our thoughts and beliefs? Maybe that's what they want also. So let's sit with that discomfort again. And the body will do what it needs to do. Sometimes that discomfort will get tighter. Okay. Sometimes other sensations will come up. Sometimes those sensations can be incredibly overwhelming. Some of us live life holding a bucket right beside us, just for those moments where those sensations are just so intense, those traumatic memories are just so intense. Okay, but could we sit with that? Could we let it through? Sometimes in sitting with that discomfort, tears come out of your eyes. I know it does for mine, okay? Always around. Napkins everywhere. Sometimes, like, oh, right? Sometimes, you wake up in the morning and you have terrible sensations that the way to get through the day is to put a headscarf, because if I don't, it feels like my head is going to explode. We can sit with it. I can do this call no matter what other sensations are coming through my body. Okay. I invite you. Notice that even more. Whatever's here for you. And for others on the call who feel blank, who feel like I'm at peace, but maybe you're already released to the point where you're in that spacious oneness. I welcome you to also sit in that and just notice it some more. And what happens to that spacious oneness? and just keep exploring it. Right, we're going to check in again.
Thank you very much. That was that was a departure.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's here for you now?
I would say a quieter noticing. Yeah.
Quieter noticing. Could
Yeah.
you allow yourself to be with that?
Of course, yes.
Okay. And then in being with that, could you also allow yourself to notice the mind's propensity to jump forward?
Yes.
Okay. And also, but let's complete that. Also,
Yes.
you got it. You got it. But I want to also notice the other side of it is that the mind is also very tricky in bringing you into the past to look for evidence to prove the propensity to jump forward. Okay. So if you could just notice that, and noticing is part of the Sedona method. It's noticing, allowing. And this is such wonderful practice for all of us to drop into the beingness versus the doingness. So just notice that. What is here now? Could I be with that? Could I notice that? Could I allow that? Could I welcome that? Could I also welcome all the thoughts? And then in the thoughts, notice how the mind jumps forward to doom and gloom and also jumps backwards for the proof that, for the evidence for that doom and gloom. And just notice that this, and if you could center and just be with whatever is present, this can happen and that can happen. It can jump back and forth, but you don't have to be hijacked by that. Okay. Does that feel complete for you, Michael?
Oh, sure does. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Amazing. That laugh was just phenomenal at the end. That was a lot of yeah. So lock that in. Okay. Notice that. Notice the energy that brought to your body. Notice the unlocking that happened with that laughter.
Yes.
Okay. And it was just a question around notice the doom and gloom. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your courage, for putting your hand up and for being so vulnerable. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any comments, questions around what just happened in terms of my approach? Silence. Feel free to type it into the chat if you want. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see any chats. And when I look at the participants, we've dropped a few people. Maybe that wasn't people's cup of tea, and I won't take that personally. I don't see any hands up. Maybe everybody's just so upset about this being the last call, Stephen. Yes, Elizabeth.
I somehow can't, the hand isn't there in my menu somehow. Anyway, I have real hands as well. So
Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
We prefer the real hands, don't we?
So in the first release, when you were going through all the senses, I really noticed this peaceful and gratitude, because there's no tension, there's no pain, there's no thoughts going here and there, there's no bad taste in my mouth. I don't hear anything, it's quiet. So I was really grateful. And then my thought went to some other part of the day today where I was feeling really anxious and where I thought I had some thoughts that, okay, this is so familiar, this feeling. It has to do with
Which feeling?
the
The peace
anxious
one.
feeling. No, no, no. No, the thought went back to the anxious feeling, which is at the moment that I had it, felt so familiar and so like it's part of me because I've had it since I was 6, and as you and all the other coaches here, I'm working with people every day, all the time. And still there's inside of me, there's this something that can still be hijacked into this well-known, familiar feeling of something's wrong. Yeah. So, but I want to share it because I decided today to sit with it. That's why it's so funny that you're talking about this right now. And it was really uncomfortable, I can tell you. On the other hand, it kind of dissipated after moving on, not so much, moving away from it, but after, yeah, just accepting life as it is in this moment. And then it kind of dissipated. So that's just like to say that even though some familiar feelings may, still come back and feel really real, because it did, it will disappear again when it's really being not. I didn't act on it, I could have acted on it, like phoning someone and then getting some encouragement or something like that. I just decided not to. So that's the sitting with it that really works. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that. I wondered if you're okay if I asked a couple of questions more
Sure.
around locking it in and see if there's any. I mean, clearly this is an atypical Friday support call. If you have anything, put your hand up, right? And I'll 100% will come back to you. But I really want to lock in this, for all of us, this component of, your story around, when you checked in, there was nothingness.
Yeah.
And how vulnerable that switched to anxiety, to anxiousness, right? So nothingness to anxiousness went really quickly, and then it jumped into the day's event. And what was really curious for me is you said it's such a familiar feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you and everybody, what would it take for the oneness, the peacefulness, the quietness, the no bad taste in the mouth, for that experience to be the familiar experience? Whoa. Take a moment. Okay. And let's lock in it into our neuropsychophysiology. Let's tell our brains, our minds, our big control center that yes, we're really good with the anxious feelings, the discomfort, we don't like it, and we have a typical reaction to it. And the reactions are so familiar. So how about from this moment forward, we choose to have the openness, the quietness, the neutral taste in the mouth, the seeing that doesn't hurt the brain, the sitting that is open, that doesn't come with any joint pain or any tightness. Whatever that peaceful experience is for you,
Mhm.
could that be the familiar experience?
Mm.
Okay, lock it in with a yes or no. No is a,
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes.
everybody else also, okay? No is a perfectly good answer. Could you let that sensation of openness, of love, of freedom, could you allow that to be the familiar reaction, response, story, belief? Could you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
And when?
No.
We're going to cycle through that again. Okay.
Yeah.
If you could take a moment and just whatever your ritual is around recalling, welcoming that sense of openness, peace, love, freedom. Could you notice it? And notice everything else that arises with that experience. Take a moment if you need a moment to get there.
Yes.
Could you welcome that openness, that sense of freedom, that sense of peace? Welcome it even more. And could you allow that to be the familiar, automatic reaction?
Mm.
Could you allow that to be the automatic, familiar reaction?
Yes.
And for those of you who came up with a no, that is a perfect answer as well. Would you?
Yes, I would.
And when?
Right now.
We're going to do that one more time. And I invite everybody to just notice how you can drop into that quiet space. And just allow yourself to drop into that. A space where your senses are working, but they don't define you. Notice the you that you think you are begins and ends. Notice how that quietness is embodied in the you that you think you are. And notice that some more. Really notice how that quietness, that peace is embodied in the you that you think you are. Could you welcome the silence? Could you welcome the expansiveness?
Yes.
Could you welcome it some more?
Oh,
Even more than that. And for some of us, where this sense of embodied peacefulness is unfamiliar, so it can feel uncomfortable. And notice that also. Notice the thoughts that come with it. And let's go back. Dip back into that openness, that expansiveness, that sense of peace. And then notice how that sense of peace can be embodied in the you that you think you are.
mm.
And as you notice that, could you allow for that to be the familiar, the normal, the automatic reaction? Could you?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you?
Yes.
And when?
No.
Ah, beautiful. How's that?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. It's like, giving a new input for a new default state. Amazing.
You know, I use this phrase a lot. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's the phrase, what got you here won't get you there. And we all chase there, like the peacefulness, the happiness, the health, the success for me to have my, like no debt kind of stuff, right? Like we chase that, but then we still use the same methodology that got us here. So what got me here is not gonna get me there, right? And also let's remind each other that the human mind and nature really doesn't like empty spaces, right? When a forest fire comes in to clean up nature, you'll see sprouts coming up, right? It doesn't stay scorched for a long time, right? So it's the same thing as our mind. So if we want to let go of the things that are not serving us, could we also fill it? And again, I'm talking from a perspective of the me that I think I am.
Yeah. That was very good. Yeah. I realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know that everybody noticed it. I know that everybody realizes some degree, but again, blah, 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 blah is how our brain locks in information. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
There is, yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. A couple of things I wanted to mention. There is a question that I will answer. Thank you, Tegan. And before I go to that, I wanted to welcome everybody, in case you don't know yet, because we do have a few people that are not in our little immediate coaching group. We are holding a virtual event where you're going to meet 14 of the newly minted coaches and instructors for the Sedona Method, right? It's 4 days of a lot of material. It'll be recorded, and I encourage you to sign up. I've put the link into the chat. If you can click on that, let it open up on a browser, and then you can take care of it later. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Stephen or any of the Sedona Method coaches and instructors that you're working with. It sounds like it's going to, well, I know for me, I'm really excited about it. It's a real great opportunity to meet new people, and for me as part of the panel, I am really excited to find out the gap, the need, if this is the way that we could possibly as a group meet the needs of our growing community. Right, so thank you, and again, just click on that, let it open up on your browser, and then you can just take care of it later. But absolutely, it will be amazing to have you there if you haven't signed up already. I only see one question.
Could I add something quickly, Wai? It's just
Yeah.
it's important. So our early bird special ended yesterday, but I haven't actually gone into the system to update that yet. Hint, hint.
So when do you think you're gonna go in there and update it?
As soon as I get to it.
Okay.
A little bit later today. So yes.
Yeah. So if you haven't signed up yet, you're interested in signing up, maybe this is the queue that you need to sign up. And if finances are an issue, could you just ding me, let me know. If you're really called to do this and you feel like, oh, I could use some help, please let me know. Okay. My email, the easiest way to reach me is my first name, waihin.chan@gmail.com. Okay. Michael said that his Wi-Fi dropped off. No offense, that's never an offense, anybody, and people come on the call and they need to leave, that's fine too. And Tegan, what am I doing for Christmas? Are you inviting me? Maybe a trip down. Short answer.
I'm coming too. I've never been to Perth.
Oh, there you go. Let's do it.
This is it.
Christmas is taking a different tone since my mom passed, because I don't feel that that was my last remaining parent. I don't feel the pull to stay in Toronto. So, but we are staying in Toronto. My 3 kids, my husband and I were staying in Toronto. We're just going to take it easy, but it's never been a commercial thing. I might actually get going. I might take all of us to a soup kitchen, but that's to be determined. Yeah. What about everybody else? Like, do you want to share? And Tegan, you're just like on keyboard today. We want to hear your voice. I kind of miss, oh, you're visiting your parents. Awesome.
Yeah, I've got to be quiet because my girlfriend's asleep in the next room.
What time is it there?
2 a.m.
Okay.
Okay, we're
Do you
going to
wanna
whisper.
type? Yeah. It's okay. Do you have a release that
Not really. No.
Just type it in. Okay. All right. All right. We have a few minutes. Any other comments, questions? You're very welcome, Christopher. All right. Well, I'm fairly comfortable sitting in the silence. And maybe let's sit there. Okay. I welcome everybody.
Do I see?
Wai, yeah, Wai, I want to thank you very much, because I used to be a quick releaser, asking quickly the questions, responding quickly. And through you, I learned to slow down a lot. And I'm appreciating it very much. Yeah. So, and for the release today, oh, yes, thank you very, very much. I could get along. It was amazing.
Amazing, amazing. And I appreciate that. As Michael brought up, the issue, the wanting to be seen and the wanting to be heard, it exists here too. I mean, I've been doing the Sedona Method for, I don't know, 20 years. It helped me through some real life crisis and absolutely helped me with my career, my projects, and all of that. But hey, the wanting to be seen and the wanting to be heard is phenomenal. So thank you for seeing me and thank you for validating me. I really appreciate that. And I think that as a community, if we could encourage each other to slow down, then I feel that we, as a human race, maybe we stand a chance of moving away from the doom and gloom.
Mm.
Okay? The doom and gloom is always there. But guess what? So is love. And the doom and gloom, that is just also part of life unfolding. Okay? And what I like to use as a metaphor is think of a spring. Okay, we as humans, we have spent a lot of time strengthening the spring where we just automatically launch faster and faster and faster and faster. Okay, the Sedona Method, similarly to mindfulness, it's a really fantastic tool to help us not load the same spring, or maybe even notice that we have that spring that just launches us into doom and gloom really quickly. And that's all. It's just noticing, oh, and then just kind of telling your brain that maybe you don't have to make that decision. So slowing it down. The fast releasing, the rapid releasing of could you, would you, when, that is super helpful as well. And there's a time and place for that.
Yeah, I did it for years. And I guess through you, I slowed down. And now I'm appreciating that. Yeah. Yeah. So, something like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think that you're not alone in that. We all do that, right? Because we're all seeking that immediate relief. And that's human nature as well. And that's okay. Tegan, you're so funny. Yeah, Ingrid, you have a red scarf. Tegan says that you look like you're wearing a life jacket and you're about to jump in the water. It's true because she has the background. When I see your background, Ingrid, I want to climb that coconut tree. It reminds me. Yeah, it reminds me so much of my childhood home in Zanzibar.
Oh, nice. Last winter I was in Spain, and this picture I had for a time, and the scarf I was wearing the day because it's fresh here. So, yeah, and thank you, Tegan. But I'm not jumping into the water.
Or maybe we're all metaphorically jumping in the water.
Ah.
I want to climb the coconut tree with you.
Right? I would have what we call it a panga, what is that walking knife?
Machete?
Machete. I would have my machete. We would climb that, right? We'd have our ropes, tie our feet and climb. It's not a very tall. And then we would just chop a couple of coconuts, green coconuts. You know, I'll use my panga, my machete to make a little thing. We drink it up and then make a little spoon and scoop out all the young. Can you just
coconut.
imagine doing that?
I'll meet you in Zanzibar for Christmas. What do you think about that? And Tegan can come too.
Wow, wow.
That
Yeah,
would be so amazing.
Perfect. Good
yeah.
plan.
Now that we're all welcoming a nice tropical experience wherever you are, I really want to thank you. And I especially want to thank you, Stephen, for building this community for 2 years of organizing these Friday support calls. And I hope that you know, this is not like, this is a last of these series, and hopefully you'll take a bit of a break, and I look forward to the to what it will look like, because you're an organizer by nature. And so I know, I just know that you'll be organizing something. So I can't wait to see what that is.
I prefer the word instigator. But yes,
Okay.
of course. Good.
I
Good.
can't wait to see what you instigate next.
Whatever it is, it will obviously occur in the moment it occurs. And I look forward to it as well.
Mm.
And that seems like the perfect time. If you're passing the baton over now, are we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then. That's it. That is the finish. That's the end of the call. I invite everybody to unmute and just say goodbye. We're ready for that. And then I'll stop the recording. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And thank you, Wai, especially for hosting all of this.
Yeah.
Thank
was
you,
amazing.
Wai. Thank you, Stephen.
It was amazing.
else.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
See
very
you
much
guys
for
soon.
everyone. Yeah.
There we
Bye.
go.